A very good morning to every one of you. I hope all of you are safe and are in good health. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all at this 51st annual general meeting of the company being held today, that is 3rd day of August 2022 at 11:30 a.m. This meeting is being held through video conferencing or other audiovisual means in accordance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and the Securities and Exchange Board of India. The webcast of this meeting is being provided by National Securities Depository Limited through its website. The company has made necessary arrangements in order to enable members of the company to participate and vote for the items to be considered in this annual general meeting. I would like to take you through certain important aspects regarding participation at this meeting. Facility of joining this AGM through video conferencing or other audiovisual means is being made available for the members on a first come, first served basis. The statutory registers required to be kept open at this AGM are available for inspection of members in electronic mode. All members who have joined the meeting are by default placed on mute mode by the host. Once the question answer session starts, the moderator will announce names of the shareholders who have registered themselves as speaker shareholders. The speaker shareholder will thereafter be unmuted by the host. The speaker shareholder may put on his or her video if he or she desires to be seen. While speaking, we would request the speaker shareholder to use earphones for better clarity. Speaker shareholders are requested to announce their names, folio numbers, or DPID or client ID before speaking and limit their queries to not more than 3 minutes during the AGM. If a member faces any technical issue, he or she may contact the helpline number of NSDL mentioned in the notice of the AGM. I would like to mention that in compliance with the provisions of the Companies Act 2013 and SEBI listing regulations, the company has provided to its members the facility to cast their vote through remote e-voting system provided by NSDL. The remote e-voting commenced at 9 a.m. on 31st July 2022 and was open for voting up to 5 p.m. on 2nd August 2022. The facility for e-voting is also available during the AGM to the members who have not yet casted their vote through remote e-voting. Members attending the AGM may go to the voting page of NSDL's e-voting website and may cast their vote. Mr. Dinesh Joshi, a practicing company secretary, designated partner of Kanj & Company LLP, company secretaries, has been appointed as scrutinizer to scrutinize the votes received through remote e-voting and also e-voting at the AGM. Members who have not voted earlier through remote e-voting can cast their vote during the course of meeting through e-voting facility. The company has received authorization from 10 corporate shareholders appointing their representatives under Section 113 of the Companies Act 2013 in respect of 3,91,20,970 equity shares representing 28.68% of the paid-up equity share capital of the company. The statutory registers as required under the Companies Act 2013 and other documents as mentioned in the notice convening this AGM are open for inspection by the members on the website of the NSDL and also on the company's website. Now I request the chairman to take the proceedings of the meeting further. Thank you.
A very good morning to all the shareholders. I cordially invite you to the 51st annual general meeting of the company. As the requisite quorum is present, I call the meeting to order. With me on the stage are all the directors of the company, except for Dr. Richard Roop, who joins this meeting through video conferencing. May I request Dr. Roop to please introduce himself?
I'm Dr. Richard Helmut Rupp. I'm independent director of the company, and I'm attending the 51st annual general meeting of Deepak Nitrite Limited from my residence in Lörrach, Germany. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roop. I shall now introduce the directors sharing the dais with me. On the left is Mr. Maulik Mehta. He is the CEO and Executive Director of Deepak Nitrite. To his left is Mr. Meghav Mehta, who has recently joined the board, and he is also the Executive Director of Deepak Phenolics. To his left is Mr. Ajay Mehta. Mr. S.K. Anand is to his left, and Ms. Purvi Sheth is also to the left of Mr. Anand. We have Mr. Som Nanda, who is the CFO of Deepak. To my right is Mr. Sanjay Upadhyay, who is now the Group CFO and the Executive Director of Finance. We are expecting Sudhir Bhai Mankad any moment. He must have been stuck in traffic, but he should be joining in a couple of minutes. Dr. Shivram is to my right. And next to Dr. Shivram is Dilip Bhai Choksi. He is the chairman of the audit committee. Mr. Sanjay Asher is to his right. And finally is Mr. Arvind Bajpai, our company secretary. Apart from the, as I mentioned to you, both Arvind Bajpai and Som Nanda are to my extreme right and extreme left. The representatives of the statutory auditors, Deloitte, Haskins and Sells, are also present at the meeting through VC, and representatives of the secretarial audit, Kanjan Company LLP, are also present through the at the meeting through VC. Before I welcome Sudhir Bhai, we have already taken your presence to be noted here. Before I proceed further, I would like to also share with all of you that during immediately after this AGM, that is around the 7th of August, we would have 3 of our stalwarts directors retiring, and I would want to convey my gratitude and gratitude on behalf of all the shareholders to each one of them. Dr. Roop, who joined us sometimes in 2009, has been a person who was in charge of major chemical businesses in one of the world's largest companies called Hext in Germany. And since then, with a number of different companies that he served, including Lonza in Switzerland, LSA Chemie in Germany, and then an Indian research company. When he retired, he agreed to join us as on our board, and has been consistently supporting Deepak's initiatives, not only in research and development, but since he was also most of the time in Europe, Deepak's networking with various companies over there, be it our customers, be it some of the suppliers, or be it sometimes when we were looking at strategic alliances, Dr. Roop has been playing a very positive and active role. Dr. Roop, in the last few years, has been working very actively to support Deepak's R&D initiatives. And most importantly, in the last 2 years, we have worked together to set in some of the best systems for research and development. The systems included setting up the right SOPs from what we call as idea to project how at each stage the commitment and contribution of all the members of the business would be bringing forth on the table, and how projects and business, our research projects can come up very well. His terms now get expired, and we have therefore to bid him goodbye as Deepak Nitrite. I'm sure we will continue to remain good friends and be connected one way or the other, maybe informally or maybe in some other form. So thank you very much, Dr. Roop. We really sincerely appreciate the support and the commitment that you gave us. And personally, to me, it has been a lot of learning. I would say a lot of good German discipline has come into me and the company in terms of the way we think and the way we act. Sudhirbhai Mankad, who is also on the board since almost the same time, 2009 or so. A lot of you already know him very well. He was at one time the finance secretary at Delhi and also the chief secretary in government of Gujarat. He has been a very astute bureaucrat, and since the time he has joined Deepak, I would say that he has ensured that the highest levels of integrity and transparency are maintained at Deepak. In any and every meeting or the audit committee meeting, I would say his going into details and going into depth and insisting that we do the right things first has always helped company, but has always kept us on our toes. Over the years, we do realize that being conservative and cautious has helped us to ensure that we continue to remain strong and consistent. Dr. Sudhir Bhai also was chairing our CSR committee, and there too, the type of concern and care that he showed whenever we were working on several CSR projects. At the same time, the benefit that we got out of his having been ex-chief secretary of Gujarat, to be able to understand what challenges and situations are faced by the poorest of the poor. All these came and continue to come in very good stead when Deepak has been contributing towards CSR. You may be aware that between Deepak CSR efforts and the efforts of the group which we are doing through a foundation called Deepak Foundation, we have been serving more a few lakh people across the country, particularly in the western region. Dr. Shivram, we happened to have met together when he was the director of India's largest research institute, National Chemical Laboratories. And since then, he has been uh, both on the board of Deepak, at the same time an ardent follower of knowledge and research, and has helped Deepak climb major challenges when it came to research. Dr. Shivram helped us to also look at things beyond the businesses that we were looking at, because his wide range of experience was certainly very useful to do a lot of lateral thinking at Deepak. And over the years, I have found that not only research, but even in areas like decide the processes that we are involving in, even the managing the committees and the subcommittees that were there, Dr. Shivaram would provide a very useful and sharp advice and ensure that the company is ensuring at any and every stage that the mandatory needs are always taken care of. At the same time, any and every newer technology or newer business that we would get look at, both Dr. Roop and Dr. Shivram would be very, very actively participating to see how we can move in the right direction and keep the very long-term future in mind. So both Sudhir Bhai and Dr. Shivram are here today, and I would like to personally thank all three of my directors who have continuously supported Deepak and have, if you have seen the last 5 years, the way Deepak has moved from, or 5 to 7 years, the way Deepak has moved from what it was and what it is today. Each of these three directors have a great contribution that has helped the company to come to this level. So, sir, thank you very much, and I sincerely appreciate all the support that we have got all along. Uh, I take this opportunity also to share with you some of the new directors who are going to be joining in. On August of 7th, uh, Sudhir Bhai, Dr. Roop and Dr. Shivram retire. And on August of 8th, we have three new directors joining us. We have Mr. Vipul Shah, who I would say has been the doyen of the chemical industry. He has been until recently the COO of the country's biggest chemical company, that is Reliance. And for many, many years, he was leading Dow Chemicals, both in India and in various parts of the world. I believe both in Midland, in Switzerland, and in Hong Kong. He had taken various assignments at Dow Chemicals to lead various business segments of Dow. So uh, we certainly will be gaining a lot by his presence at the board, particularly now that we have gone into some of the petrochemical intermediates. So I'm sure I'm going to be getting more and more of his advice on what the future lies and what could be the way Deepak could align itself with the emerging new world. We have Mr. Samudra also joining us. Prakash Samudra has been uh, managing director of India's prime engineering company. It used to be called Ude India. It is now called TKIS, Thyssen Group. And Ude India is also known to have contributed to a lot of growth in India by bringing in technologies, engineering, etc., for a number of chemical plants, be it the fertilizer plants, be it the caustic chlorine plants. Ude has been one of the prime players. And if you may recollect, the phenol plant that we set up, TKIS was our EPCM contractors, and they certainly helped us a great deal to complete the project in record time. So we have Mr. Samudra who joins us to also bring in the technological strength, and also I believe we should look at him to help us also network with technology suppliers around the world. We have Mr. Puneet Lalbhai also joining us. Lalbhai is part of the Arvind Mills group. While he leads quite a few of the business segments in Arvind Mills, he also has a passion for sustainability and a passion for CSR. Uh, Being a part of a family uh, which is well known for high level of integrity and business acumen, I'm sure that Puneet Bhai will be contributing a good deal to Deepak, and uh, would also help to see that we are continuing to give our priorities to growth, not only in business but also in what we are doing for the society. So thank you very much, sir, for joining the board, and we look forward to a great innings in the coming years to come. May I take this opportunity now to share with you on the business side? I know we are continuing to feel that this would be the last year when COVID is there, but every year we have felt the same and have only hoped and prayed that sooner than later we would really be able to be physically together, because of course having this virtual option a lot less is a lot hassle free, but at the same time the pleasure of physically meeting is something that one can never really replace by virtual meetings. I do hope the coming year uh, we will be able to get such an opportunity. And as we see and as we talk about COVID, we are aware that in the last 1 year, we almost thought that COVID has gone, and yet it came back again with uh, uh, when the Delta COVID struck us last June or so. Since then, again, we have gone through situations where we felt that COVID is now is on its way out, and we had again lighter versions, but we still had COVID in the form of Omicron. I only hope and wish and pray that all of you continue to remain safe and continue to remain healthy, and sooner than later, COVID really does not affect us. And we did think that after January, February, once the Omicron impact was found to be very mild, that future impact would not be there as a result of COVID. And particularly the economy, which was also largely affected because of COVID, would come back to normal. However, as one sees in the last 6 months, we've had situations where the volatility has not stopped. Post COVID, inflation across the world has gone beyond what was projected. Countries like United States are now talking of double digit inflation, and as a result, the efforts to curb inflation has caused situations in which the currencies of the world have gone through a major shakeout. A large number of developing countries like countries neighboring India are in serious trouble trying to see how to really find a way in terms of currency strengthening. If this was not enough, the wars of Russia and Ukraine have created even more spin in the game in terms of creating acute shortages of gas, of oil, and oil prices in the last few months have risen to uh, to never before levels of oil, more or less $140 per barrel, compared to what we thought that $100 is the highest that we could have had. And at the end of the day, therefore, uncertainty, volatility are some things that have become of a totally new order. Even as I speak, we are equally concerned what is happening in the rest of the world, and how whatever happens there, sooner it starts affecting all the rest of the world, including India. And we need to keep on working to see how we can align ourselves with the changing situations. Things like fertilizers getting peaked out in prices have created situations where agriculture produce is going to be affected world over. And we do fear that in the coming months there would be food shortages in many parts of the world. With all of these happening, when I come back to industry and particularly the chemical industry, I do find that a lot of rules of the games are changing. No longer one can say that economy of scale is a right approach. No longer one can say that putting up industry with sourcing out your raw materials from one single source or from the cheapest source is the right approach. No longer one can say that focus business is the right solution. The rules of the game have totally changed. And in the constant situation of changing games, changing rules of the games, changing uh, partners and priorities, one of the issue that I do see is that we need to ensure that we have unique strengths to still succeed in this situation. And with these circumstances in background, when I look at Deepak Nitrite and when I look at the performance for this year, that we had a year where again we have broken records so far as the top line is concerned. We have crossed 6,800 crores. When we talk about EBITDA, we have crossed 1,600 crores. When we talk about PAT, we have crossed the target of 1,000 crores. I do believe that it is not only Deepak's focus on being a value creator in an entire value chain that has been a strength. It is not only the fact that we have focused largely on India and domestic markets as our place of growth, as our strength. It is not only that we have worked ourselves to see that we are the most agile company and are trying to see that any and every situation we are constantly alert, taking immediate steps and ensuring we are taking care of our customers. But with all this, it's also providence. And today, with all the hard work, we continue to pray not only for ourselves, but also for our customers and for our suppliers, since it is only the entire value chain. As long as that is fine, we would be continuing to do business well. The benefit of diversity in business is also a great advantage that Deepak has, where from from being a good player in the specialty chemicals business, be it agro intermediates and pharma intermediates, to being in performance products, to being into intermediates, and now into petrochemical intermediates. We would have cycles of businesses up and down for each of these, but constantly the idea would be to see how we can maximize opportunities between as and when and wherever we get. As you would see, in the business of basic intermediates, we have ensured that on one side, the company was going through situations of very high input costs, like caustic soda and nitric acid. These are our very basic input costs, which at times we have found them going literally to 2 times or 3 times what we have been used to be paying. And yet, the business has worked to see that managing supply chain, managing inventories, but keeping everything tight enough to see that we are able to uh, take these increases in stride and also find a way to convince our customers when we had to pass on some of these. So increase in some of the products in the basic intermediate business in capacities has also helped. At the same time, our being able to improve our earnings in some of these products have helped. So the basic intermediate business did certainly much better in spite of all these price increases that we had to take in. If the fine and specialty businesses where we have the businesses going into specialty chemicals for pharma, for agro. The growth has been there, but the growth has not been as good as what was there in the previous quarter. As in most of these businesses are also focused on exports, and we have to keep on aligning ourselves with what world markets are growing. At the same time, I would say the Sparkle also was taken on by the performance products business, where the margins we were able to double the margins by working very closely with customers and actually producing products which each customer was wanting it, uh, meeting with his needs, be it for the paper industry, be it for the detergent industry, be it for the textile industry. So all of these diversified business segments have helped the company to see that one way or the other, the growth continues to come. And when I look at the business of phenol and acetone, where we uh, crossed of over 4,000 crores turnover, we certainly had the best ever quarter as quarter one last year. And the following quarters, the company did its very best to see how it can continue to be a good performer by seeing what can be done to get more and more capacities out of the plant that was running. And so, from a plant which originally was capable, when we put up the plant, it was supposed to be giving something like 2 lakh tons of phenol. We have ended up increasing that capacity from 2 lakh to 2.2 to 2.3 to 2.5. And now we are at 2.5 lakhs plus capacity of phenol and acetone for this year. So all of this also help to ensure that as and when ecosystems and outside environment support us, we take the maximum benefit. As and when the environment is stable, we then try to see how to still continue showing growth by looking internal and maximizing value from what we have. The year also saw some of the small debottleneckings that we did in our various businesses, including basic chemicals, basic intermediates, finance specialties. And in the on the phenol side, we added the second plant to make IPA, and this brings our total IPA capacity up from 30,000 tons to now 60,000 tons. This is a forward integration of the acetone that we are already making. We were also able to complete the major investment in a boiler cum power plant by the end of the year. And I can share with you with pride that in this last 2 months, we found that this facility has certainly helped us a great deal, particularly when we find that power fluctuations in the industrial state, uh, maybe because of the monsoon coming in, have created challenges for a lot of other companies. But for Deepak's phenol plant, they continue to run at peak load. So that has been a good benefit. Of course, there was some additional benefit we were looking for, where with cheap energy costs like coal, we could have made power more competitively. But today, the cost of coal is also equally very high, and therefore, that benefit I can only say is postponed to for better times when the coal prices come back to normal. So, with I think it must be the third or fourth year in a row that the company continues to do well. And I believe it is the 10th or 12th quarter where our ROCE has been over 30% as a whole. And all of this has helped us to do some very interesting things. Our credit rating by ICRA improved for both Deepak Nitrite and Deepak Phenolics to double A positive. And I believe this is one of the best that an industry can take. We could, as you are already aware, declare a dividend amount almost closing to 100 crores. I think the amount was about 95 crores or so. We were, you may be aware that we also had received approval for equity shares through QIP from the board and you shareholders. We continue to study markets conditions to decide what would be the appropriate time to launch this QIP issue. As we look forward, and when we began this year, we just had our board meetings yesterday for Deepak Nitrite and a few days back for Deepak Phenolics. This year, as I was sharing, has begun with even more extreme volatility. And as the oil prices shot up to cross $140, it also pulled up all the prices of petrochemical building blocks. And we have seen prices of raw materials like benzene crossing $1,400. I have never seen benzene prices going so high in my life, at least. And of course, as oil prices started coming down, benzene prices have been coming down. But at the end of the day, whether it is us or our customers or their customers, each one of us have been trying to see how to align ourselves with these situations. We also saw that during this first quarter that prices of other key raw materials like nitric acid shot up by almost 2.5 to 3 times. And efforts have been on to try and see how to find ways in which we are able to share with our customers the challenges, the situation worldwide, and why this. We do hope and believe that this pricing situation will not be there for long. And finally, we had a big challenge in one of the businesses, one of the sites where we had a fire. You may be aware. This was at Nandesari, uh, which was only in the godown of the products that we were storing, but it did affect some of the other engineering godowns. And the company had to literally close the plant down for almost a month in order to ensure that each of the plants, though superficially did not seem to be affected, but one needed to take care that the structural stability is in good order so that we can continue to operate at full capacities. I'm happy to share that more or less all the plants have come back into full production. We still have one of the plants, which is a nitrite plant, where we are working to improve the structural stability. And I am told that in the next month or so, we should be coming back to again bringing that capacity also to its full operating levels. With these situations, I would say that even in spite of all these challenges, Deepak Nitrite was able to clock in 739 crores of revenue on a standalone basis, as against 532 crores in Q1 corresponding quarter, and was able to achieve a PBT of 131 crores as against 129 crores in the same quarter last year. When we compare it, of course, with the quarter four, the previous quarter, where we were already at 759 crores and a PBT of 194 crores, completing a 739 crores is, I would say, just about close to the number. But if we take into account that this quarter represents only 2 months and a few days as compared to a whole quarter because of the fire in the nitrite division, then I would say that if things would have been normal, we would certainly have crossed the turnover of the last quarter also. But I am hoping that sooner we are going to be seeing these situations behind us. I'm very, very thankful to God Almighty that during this situation, not a single incident of casualty of any person was affected, and therefore this really makes me feel that even if we have challenges, there is someone up there who's always going to be taking care of us. I think this is a good luck of Deepak Nitrite, and for so many years that I've seen that in terms of challenges, there is always somebody up there who ensures that thus far and no more. In Deepak Phenolics too, as I mentioned, that we did go through a never before price fluctuation of our raw materials like benzene. Uh, and this has been happening world over. At the same time, Deepak did its best to see how it can maximize in capacity runs, in efficiency runs, and we were able to clock in a turnover of about close to about 1340 crores compared to a turnover of 1000 crores in the same quarter last year and about 1131 crores for the previous quarter. However, as I mentioned to you, the first quarter last year was one of the best quarters in terms of profits and margins because prices world over were very high, and then later on it had moderated. So when I compare this, I find that against 277 crores of PBT last year, we were able to achieve something like 185 crores of PBT this year. And this 185 is still a little above the PBT that we had for the previous quarter, which was about 170 crores. So when I look at the situation, I do find that even in these challenging times, ensuring that we are running the plants at our best, at our fullest level, taking into account the never before prices of inputs like benzene going up so much, and working during an ecosystem when energy costs have more than doubled. The cost of steam, which used to be 1000 rupees, today is more than 2500 rupees because of prices of coal having gone up. And in spite of all this, we have been finding that our sheer effort to optimize plant operations, our close contact with customers, our rapport with the entire supply chain system has helped us. And this whole idea of remaining on our toes and being nimble constantly has ensured that plant operations are always to its best in spite of challenges that come from inside or outside. Phenol, acetone are products where uh, they are bulk commodities. And at the same time, one of the most important thing is we are very, very focused to take care of the Indian markets. And in these 4 years, I do see that Indian markets have grown significantly as easy availability of phenol and acetone has come about. Our going into making IPA and then doubling the plant of IPA. Today, we between domestic manufacturing and imports, the gap has significantly reduced, and India is getting to become more and more closer towards being Atmanirbhar in products like IPA. And one more thing I may share about insurance. We have, with regard to this fire, we are fully covered uh, with insurance and also loss of profits. And in the profitability that I've just shared, we have taken into account part of the claim that we have made for the loss of goods, totaling to about 47.5 crores. We believe the when the total claim which is being put together is put up to cover also our costs of reinstatement of facilities and all that, it would be much larger. But as and when the claim gets settled, it would be reflected in our books. But so far, we have had good support from our insurance companies, and I do hope that this will be very promptly responded to in the next month or so. So coming to the next year and the next 2 years, you are already aware that Deepak has committed to making investments to keep on strengthening its value chain on one side, and also looking at utilizing its R&D facilities to develop newer and greater capabilities in different technologies and processes. In India, I believe that in areas like nitration, diazotation, hydrogenation, Deepak has been a primary, one of the top companies in the country. In this next 2 years, we are adding couple of other new capabilities, including photochlorination, including fluorination, that will increase our capabilities. And at the same time, the products that we choose would be such that would utilize not only these new technologies, but also add on with the technologies that we are already good at, including nitration and hydrogenation. So all in all, Deepak would continue to strengthen its specialty chemicals businesses, but with us constantly strengthening our core competencies. So the idea has been to really keep on focusing inwards and ensuring that the capability of creating value, that there is, that what Deepak would propose offer to the market, very few companies in the country and the world would be able to do that. During the year, we have also committed to investing into debottleneckings of some of our other plants, and have also committed to go ahead and put up a very large plan to make a solvent called MIBK. The full name is methyl isobutyl ketone. This is another solvent that would be using our acetone to value add, and we would be bringing in a capacity of about 40,000 tons per year. More or less, all of the MIBK is imported. Uh, all of More or less, all the MIBK is imported. Nobody makes MIBK in the country today. We are also planning to add again more downstreams to make another few other solvents, one of them being MIBC, which is used both in India and exported. So this effort to continue developing value add products like and solvents would not only offer a range of products for companies in the pharma agro business, but it will also help us to move into more and more diverse fields like lube oil additives, etc., which will be strengthening the base of Deepak. In the very long term, the thought has been also that drives us towards future growth is to look at businesses which are going to be very, very critical for the country, because our focus continues to remain India as a major growing place. Some of the businesses that we are looking at are engineering polymers, one of them being a product called polycarbonate, a product which is critical for the country. Today, it's again totally imported. And while it is used for products like construction industry, automobiles, etc., tomorrow it would be used more and more for products like semiconductors, for 5G, even the mobiles that we are using today. More and more of this would include polycarbonate based resins and products. And the most important thing is that polycarbonate would again add value and strength to our current businesses in phenol. Since the world, over 50% of the phenol produced in the world is consumed to make polycarbonate resins. So while India is importing these, when Deepak looks at adding value to its phenol and acetone, it would again work to see that it creates greater value proposition for the marketplace, and at the same time works to see that we are focusing on Atmanirbharta. And in these current times, when we see the world getting to be very, very volatile, and one is never too sure about which country to depend on, I believe that some of these critical products would make a big difference for the growth of the country as it looks forward in the next decade. And I do therefore believe that this mantra of serving the domestic markets and constantly integrating to bring greater and greater value, at the same time finding, I would say, specialty values to what we are doing, be it through processes, be it through technologies, be it through new products, that these would be the mantra that continues to bring success to Deepak. With these few words, I would like to ask if there are any questions, and would be very happy to answer each of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would now have the question and answer session. I request the speaker shareholders to limit their queries to not more than 3 minutes each and ask questions or provide suggestions which are relevant to the company. The response to the queries shall be provided together at the end. Our first speaker today is Mr. Bimal Kumar Agarwal. Mr.
Hello,
Agarwal.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
we can hear you
hello.
well.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Agarwal, we
Hello.
can hear you. Mr. Agarwal, we can hear you.
Me? Hello.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yes, Mr.
Hello.
Agarwal, we can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Sir, please provide your
morning
DP
to
ID and
everyone.
client ID.
Sorry,
and
good
then ask your
afternoon to
question.
everyone. First of all, I thank the company secretary and his team. And I'll just come and one sec, just hold on, please. The company has posted strong revenue and profit during FY22. Please provide the guidance for the current year and what is the company capex plan and what is the company's valuation as of now, and if like interest rate is rising and rupee value is also depreciating. What is the impact on our company? Thank you very much. That's all from me. Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. We have noted your question. Our next speaker is Mr. Digant Mehta. Mr. Mehta, we request you to provide your DP ID and client ID before asking the question.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Mehta, please go ahead.
I'm Digant Mehta. My DP ID is IN 3000888 and my client ID is 13998740. Before starting, let me congratulate all the directors and the office bearers for giving us this splendid performance in spite of the tragic event of the fire. I would like to know what is the status of operation at Nandesari location post-fire incident, and when do we expect to normalize operations of the plant? Say when we will come back to 100% capacity. And along with that, also please let us know the status for insurance claim relating to fire. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. We have noted your questions. Our next speaker is Mr. Deepak Desai. Mr. Desai.
Good afternoon, everybody. Congratulations to Deepak Bhai and his team for excellent performance during 21-22. I would have wished you should have given more dividend as cash flows permitted and our price is so high. Anyway, I think you always believe in preserving the resources for expansion. So my question is related to, I understand that around $15 billion are being invested in new businesses. how much of it is for backward integration or the existing, and how much is for the new projects? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Desai. Our next speaker is Mr. Dinesh Kotecha. Mr. Kotecha, I will request you to provide your DP ID and client ID before asking the question. You may ask your question now.
Yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Yeah, start my video if you can, sir, please. My name is Dinesh Kotecha. I am from Bombay, Vasai. My DP ID is 120189007 times 564. From late good morning to early good afternoon, sir, because we had a very interesting speech given by you, sir, which covered every aspect of the PPF, the past, present, and the future of Deepak Nitrite. For 54 minutes, I was hearing constantly and very intensely what you spoke. And that covered, I mean, nearly 40 to 50, 60%, 70% of my questions. But sir, it was so very fast that I could not note down everything. So can you, the secretary, provide me the speech in my email? That will be better for me. Yes. Now coming to the questions, basically of the balance sheet. Sir, integrated balance sheet, very thankful for that. And that should be the way for a progressive company, that now everybody is trying to give integrated balance sheet as they grow. So your balance sheet theme depend on Deepak. Everybody is depending on Deepak. The 5 to 6 pointers that you have given, even the investors are included there, and we also depend on you for better results and still better distribution, sir. So fantastic, sir. One small suggestion I can give you is that all the amounts everywhere in the balance sheet should be mentioned in crores, nowhere in millions, nowhere in lakhs. Now that confuses us. You know, somewhere it is mentioned in millions, somewhere it is mentioned in lakhs, somewhere it is mentioned in crores. So that will give a better, impact on the balance sheet. Sir, I would just like to explain, I mean, ask you some questions. That is, first is that on page number 7, rather, we have got 6 plants, 3 in Gujarat, 2 in Maharashtra, and 1 in Hyderabad. Sir, I would like to, give me some details about the plant, which plant-wise, can you give us that some description, sir? Which year it was set up, area of the plant, area utilized for the plant building, products manufactured in each plant, number of employees, and cost of the plant, capital employed, revenue generated, ROI from each plant. So before I forget, I wish good luck to Mr. Mankad, Mr. Sudhir Hoop, Richard Hoop, and Shivraman for being associated with our company. We shareholders also join you, sir, in wishing them a fantastic farewell, sir. And we welcome the 3 new directors on the board, Vipul Shah, Samudarai, and Punit Lalbhai. We welcome them, and we hope that the younger generation put in more varied intelligence and their experience into the company for better growth. Sir, page 9, I appreciate, nicely given. The product-wise details are given. Sir, seeing the growth of the company for the last 5 years, I find that, and seeing the first quarter results also, my estimation is that we will not be able to reach 10,000 crores, but somewhere between 8,500 crores and 9,000 crores in the current year. You can just nod your face, I'll be happy. Sir, we are zero debt company. Fantastic, sir. Sir, I have got one particular mantra for a corporate, and the mantra is search. S for stop, E for evaluate, A for analyze, R for review, C for check, and H is silent in that search, sir. So we should also be silently in our high performance, sir. Then only that search will have good value, sir. Sir, CSR, one of the best that you have required. All the details given under that particular, the details of the beneficiaries given, sir. Fantastic. Sir, Deepak Phenolics is started in December 21. We have doubled the capacity by the time it has started from 30,000 tons to 60,000 tons. And I appreciate whatever you have given there. On page 130, 131 about the CSR also, I'm very happy because you are the first company, sir, I'm seeing. I have gone through nearly 227 balance sheets, physical balance sheets. You are the only company which has given details of the CSR activity amount spent on capital asset. I mean, that is fantastic. 2 pages you have devoted for that. Happy, sir. Sir, our promoters' contribution, holding is only 45.72%. Do we have any plans to do some creeping acquisition of 5%, which SEBI allows you to do every year, sir? Sir, from the resident shareholding 27.8%, I would like you to give me the list of top 10 public shareholders, non-institutional, non-promoters. Sir, you have given nicely about the Dahej fire. You have explained everything about the insurance position and all that. Sir, page 180. Appreciate, because only 2 disputed cases given by the auditor, and that too hardly covering only 1 crore. That shows the vigilance towards the statute and the compliance. You are very good compliance team you have got, sir. Sir, one more thing, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 analysis was also given in the chart in the first page, sir, some of the few pages. Our quarterly performance, that will help us analyze the quarterly performance also. Sir, you have nicely explained everything. I just want to ask you 2 more questions. Do we do scenario planning? Look at what would happen if everything went wrong, and how would we pay for it? How would we mitigate the risk of that particular thing? Sir, lastly, how do we measure R&D, research productivity and rate of return? You have given everything nicely about the company, the growth prospects. 48 minutes were equivalent to me for, sir, 5 to 6 hours of learning from you. And I really appreciate your company secretary, Mr. Bajpayee, and his team members, Chirag ji, for calling me, for discussing things with me. I have discussed so many of my questions with your people on the phone also, and you have covered most of them in the speech. Thank you very much, sir, and wish you all the best for greater heights, greater performance, and good sharing with of the revenue, even with the shareholders. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kotecha. We have noted your questions and suggestions. Our next speaker is Mr. Nirav Jimudia. Mr. Jimudia, we request you to kindly provide your DPID and client ID before starting your questions. You may start now.
My DPID is IN 30115122924874. So first of all, I'd like to give my sincere thanks to Mr. Somsekhar and team. I think he has been always at the forefront in terms of solving our most of queries whenever we get in touch with him. Sir, I have some 4-5 questions to ask. So can I start with my questions, sir?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So, yeah. Sir, when we see most of the companies in India now, the specialty chemicals has been the talk of the town. So, whomsoever we look about, they always talk about that, they are moving into those specialty chain of products. But we have been into the fine and specialty division from long. We have developed several new products over there. So, how Deepak classifies its product as specialty in terms of the longevity and the sustainability of that product, and in terms of payback periods? So this is question number 1, sir. So second is how many products we have introduced over last 4-5 years to our R&D, and how much it is now being contributed to our standalone sales. And sir, I think in the last annual report we touched upon the building of the new R&D center. So, how many scientists we are planning to recruit there? Because I think so many companies have now been moving or investing a lot into the R&D. So, what sort of challenges you face while you go and try to recruit the people on the ground? So this is on the R&D side. So third question is, you even touched upon some of the newer capexes on the downstream phenol and acetone side. I think in the annual report you have mentioned something around 700 crores out of the 1500 crores which we are intending to spend on phenol and acetone downstream products. So when are the products which you mentioned? So one is MIBK, one is MIBC, and third one was polycarbonate. So when are these projects are going to get commissioned? And in terms of the size of the opportunity, because then probably these are some of the products what you mentioned, but in terms of the size of the opportunity, what could be the market size of the derivatives of the phenol and acetone in India? So just wanted a flavor of that. Uh, in a related question to that would be, sir, we are already in the process, so we are already optimizing our phenol and acetone capacity. So do we need another large scale plant similar to what we are currently having? Because then all these capacities would again require a larger amount of phenol and acetone. So if you can touch upon your thought process there. And sir, the last question from my side would be, if Mr. Maulik Mehta could share his views about the learning curve over last 5-7 years, and some of the mistakes probably which he would have overcome in building the Deepak more efficiently, more sustainability, and those learning curves, if we can share with us in terms of building a Deepak over a different Deepak over next 4 5 years, that would be very helpful, sir. Sir, I support all your resolutions and wish the team all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jimudia. We have noted your questions and suggestions. Our next speaker is Mr. Shailesh Vaidya. Mr. Vaidya, we request you to provide your DPID and client ID before asking a question. You may go ahead now.
It is IN 302-902 42041-379. First of all, I congratulate the management team, the finance and the secretarial team for presenting excellent informative annual report for this year. My question is, what is the vision of Deepak Group in level of capex in next 5 years and top line revenue planned in coming years? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vaidya. We have noted your questions. As there are no other registered speaker shareholders, I request the chairman to kindly respond to the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Agarwal was curious to know what is the current company's valuation. I think our net worth is now over 3,500 crores, 3,700 crores. When one talks about profit expectations, earlier on we used to be saying that we can tell you about the turnover, but we don't know or we cannot share about the profit. But today's day is the way the prices of inputs and outputs are fluctuating. We don't even know what will be the top line that will be showing up. However, what we focus on is only one thing, that whatever products we have, whatever capacities we have, how do we constantly ensure that we are getting more from the plant, as much as possible from the plant? Because that's where we can concentrate on inside, cost-effective manufacturing and maximizing manufacturing. At the end of the day, then if oil prices are high and raw material and finished products prices are high, we make a huge turnover. And if these come down, we make a small turnover. Our EBITDAs would continue to show positive performances, but EBITDA percentage could keep on changing depending upon what the baseline prices of inputs and outputs have been. Because by and large, most of our products, the prices are passed through. And therefore, as long as we are focusing on keeping our cost of conversion effective, we are able to ensure that the EBITDAs are doing well. Mr. Digant was inquiring about the unnecessary operations and insurance claim. As I mentioned to you, by and large, all the plants that were there in Nandesari are back to operations. We make nitrotoluenes over there. We make amines over there. We make products that are for fuel additives over there. We make sodium nitrite, nitrate over there. So all of these products are back into operation. The sodium nitrite plant is running currently at 50% load. The remaining capacity of sodium nitrite would be into operation by next month, hopefully. So in terms of the number of products, we are back to the all the products that were produced. In terms of capacity, all except sodium nitrite are running today at full capacity. With regard to insurance claim, can I request Mr. Sanjay Upadhyay to share?
So we have lodged our claim with insurance company. Survey and all these things are going on as on today. The coverage is 100%, all risk policy. So so far we are very confident that this amount will be gradually it will be received as and when the claim progresses further, because there are processes to be completed before we get and some interim relief also can be expected soon. We have in the books currently booked the income to the extent of material damage. LOP is not yet recognized, and that too the loss to the extent of loss only it is recognized, as the Deepak Bhai mentioned in his speech. The insurance is on reinstatement, but that value is not yet recognized. This process takes little time, and as and when any updates are received, we'll inform the investors.
Mr. Deepak Desai was inquiring about new projects and backward and forward integration. We have committed ourselves currently to about around 1,500 crores of new projects. Deepak believes in constantly integrating forward and backward. And whatever I would say would be products that we are going into forward integration, I think the next time you would hear that there is still more forward integration. So at the end of the day, the approach is to see that whichever value chains we choose, we continue to remain stronger, and we keep on looking at the world to see that if anybody else is in a higher integrated manner, how can we also move in the same direction? Mr. Dinesh Kotecha have shared lots of good points for the company to keep in mind, and I would take this opportunity to thank you for that. Your whole concept of search is also something that we will now keep that in mind. And I'm not sure whether mentioning in different current numbers like crores and lakhs and millions would be the right thing, because frankly, even I'm confused when there are number of different ways of putting these numbers. Sometimes even trying to find out where is a comma after the zero takes a few more minutes. So we have been now used to making things simpler, and Deepak always believes in keeping things simple. However, we'll still keep your suggestion in mind to see whether we can do something better. You mentioned about our focus on research and development. Yes, Deepak, there is a difference again because of the way we make our products, that our research and development center is very unique, which you would not find the likes of it in many places in the country. Most of the research that is done by pharma companies and agro companies and specialty chemical companies is in the areas of chemistry, where they would take two products and put it in a vessel and create new products. In Deepak, we are doing research where both chemistry and chemical engineering get involved. We are working on research using catalysis and also products which may not be very, very small, but have a capacity to then grow up much larger. So it is in that space which is in tens of tons or hundreds of tons is the minimum capacity, to then seeing that can we scale these up to make few thousand tons. At the same time, the focus at Deepak is where the research is helping us to look at not one industry segment like pharma or agro. Diversity starts even in the research center, where somewhere along we are looking at colors and optical brightness, and somewhere along we would be looking at petrochemical intermediates, lube oil additives, to pharma and agro intermediates, through finding different solvents. So all of these helps us to really remain diverse to that extent, and ensure that wherever, whichever business segment the opportunity is showing up better and faster, we are able to quickly move towards that. And at the same time, risk is mitigated because we are constantly into a diverse business. We are we have currently close to over 50 scientists working. And as we move to a new site at Dahej, this new site at Savli, which is very close to Baroda, I do believe that we would end up almost doubling the total strength in the next few years after that. Savli is a place where some of the good multinational companies have their research centers also over there. And it is very close to Baroda, so we would be able to attract good talent who can stay and have a good life in Baroda as they work in the research unit. You mentioned about scenario planning. Yes, scenario planning is something that is done, and more so when we are faced with certain challenges. For example, I may say we had a situation in which one of our key suppliers decided to take a shutdown, and we were not willing to take a shutdown ourselves. And so the effort was okay, even if this shutdown happens, how do we find a way to get our input? And the scenario planning helped us to look at several options, including importing the raw material, importing an intermediate, including stockpiling, including ensuring that we have 2 months of work that we can do. So, and then we would do these plan B, plan C, plan D, and keep on then monitoring and working parallelly. And then as we come closer to the situation, we would be able to then close in on the right plan that meets the needs. So these scenario plannings also are not only looked at the short-term needs, but also when we look at long-term business needs, particularly looking at how the world is shaping up in terms of demands. Sometimes there are competing products that go to the same end market, and we would work on trying to see again how to minimize our risk by depending only on one product by spreading the businesses to other businesses. So scenario planning does help us. At the same time, these days, scenarios change so frequently and so violently that I'm sure it goes beyond anybody's imagination that such scenarios can actually happen. But nevertheless, it's always better to do planning than no planning, and we would continue to put these efforts. We have an excellent team in terms of the technique, the top team that drives Deepak Nitrite and Deepak Phenolics, and this helps us to be constantly alert. May I request Maulik Bhai to share his thoughts on the learnings? If whatever you would like to say, you can bring the mic here. Let's take this thing.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you for the question. A lot of the learning over the last few years has been by keeping my eyes and ears open, realizing that I have access to some of the smartest people and data all around me, and also being able to lean on the phenomenal support that Deepak has in its brand equity when it comes to its customer base, its supplier base, and its investor community. So I've had a lot of learnings from having had the chance to listen to what they say. Finally, one of the largest learnings that I have taken to heart is that as a chemical company, what we do, if it seems complicated to me, then I can only imagine how complicated it seems to somebody outside. So the more we simplify our goals, our targets, and the more we talk about the outcomes that we desire, the more aligned we are internally as a team. We've had a lot of ups and downs, and in all of those situations, what we have done is we have first and foremost opened ourselves to say, okay, what could have been done differently? What could have been better? And we have allowed unfiltered data to flow in, where people have openly shared areas of opportunity that we may have missed. We take those to heart just as much as good growth opportunities. This has allowed us to be working towards a sense of resilience, and more than anything else, it has created a sense of teamwork and outcome orientation. I'm really hopeful that this is just the first step in a long ladder, but we will get there. Thank you.
So I may like to just add a few points. What do I see as a difference between the days that we were doing and now the new team, including Maulik and Megha, are bringing on the table? If you see, Deepak Nitrite is now much more agile, much more focused in terms of ensuring that whatever happens in the marketplace, how we are able to quickly respond to. I think, may I call it that this is the energy of the youth that is bringing this capability. And I do believe that in these days of such violent situations in the business, in the marketplace, this type of agility is a need of the hour. Also, I do see the need to look beyond just the chemical and technology into things like how do we really plan things differently. And I know Megha has been concentrating on bringing in newer ways of doing things like we were always used to doing things like planning on 2D models and 3D models. But to conceive something like a 4D model and 5D model and try to incorporate things, try to really work on models that can be constructed here and now before the real plans come up, and then optimizing. All of these things are of a new order, and I do believe that the company is actually going through a generation change in terms of the way it will be working and the way it will be performing. I can only say that Deepak will become much stronger, but I do believe that that would be the need of the hour if the volatility like what we see today is going to be continuing. So I think we are all fortunate again to have the new generation take in uh, and bring their own strength to the table. About projects, I would say that in the short, medium term, the focus has been on to solvents, as I mentioned, like MIBK, MIBC. We would be steadily moving towards making more and more of intermediates for the finance specialties. But we do find that the differentiation between what we call as fine intermediates and commodity basic intermediates are getting blurred up as we try to really bring in values which are more towards the way the Germans look at, they call it Verbund, where side products, byproducts, value creation at every level is pursued. And there is no such thing like a fine chemical or a basic intermediate. At the end of the day, it's a value chain. And sometimes you may make much more money in the bulk or the basic intermediate as compared to the fine chemical. Sometimes you may make even much more money in the fine chemical itself. At the end of the day, focus on the customer and his needs and making him feel satisfied so that we can get more and more businesses. That commitment does not change whether it is a bulk intermediate, whether it's a fine chemical, or whether it's a performance product. So, with these thoughts in mind, actually, we have this year planned to merge all these three segments as what we call as BI segment, FNS segment, and performance products PP segment into one segment, which we now call as advanced intermediates. And the second segment, which is right now, there is a phenol and acetone segment. So from next year onwards, I think we would be presenting our case, our numbers more into these two segments, which is advanced intermediates from this quarter itself, and phenols. I do know that as the years go by, even this will continue to go through metamorphosis to change. Products like polycarbonate, I feel is more like in the distance. It is more like setting us, helping us set some sort of a direction. We don't see it happening in the next 2 or 3 years, but maybe more. But having set that direction, it also helps us to start looking at all products that would go into supporting such polymers like in the next 2-3 years, we would also look at adding other products that are small but critical intermediates for specialty polymers. So then at the end of the day, on the specialty side, on one side, we would make products that are going more into life sciences like agro intermediates and pharma intermediates. And on the other side, we would also look at making intermediates that would go into the polymer, specialty polymer side, and steadily see that we are climbing to bring in more closer and closer to the ultimate dream. In these processes, capacity expansions of phenol and acetone, it would be like each one helping each other. As I mentioned that we are already planning to increase our phenol capacity by debottlenecking by somewhere around next year. We should be working to see that the capacity is increased by at least 25% more from 2.5 lakh tons. If we look at the original capacity, it would be 50% more to maybe crossing 3 lakh tons. And as we do this, so also the downstream consumption would come in. And so at the end of the day, we would ensure that we take care of both our customers and continue to grow in the value chain. Mr. Sailesh Vaidya have also asked questions regarding our growth, and I hope that my answers to some of the other gentlemen would also satisfy Mr. Vaidya. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you to continue to putting your confidence and trust in the company and continuing to pray with me for the betterment of the company. Thank you very much. Can we go through the other resolutions?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the notice is already circulated to all the members, I take the notice convening this meeting as read. There are no qualifications, observations, or adverse remarks in the auditor's report issued by the statutory auditors, and also there are no qualifications, observations, or comments or other remarks in the secretarial auditor's report which have any material adverse impact on the functioning of the company, and hence the same are not required to be read out at this AGM. Mr. Kartikeya Rawal, representative of statutory auditors, and Mr. Dinesh Joshi, secretarial auditor, are present in this meeting through VC. Now I will brief the members about the agenda items as contained in the notice convening this AGM and also about the e-voting process at the AGM. There are 7 business items in the notice of 51st annual general meeting of the company. I will now read the items under ordinary business. Item number 1 of the notice: to receive, consider, approve, and adopt the audited financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2022, together with the reports of the Board of Directors and auditors' report thereon. The resolution for item number 1, as provided in the notice, is proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. Item number 2 of the notice: to receive, consider, approve, and adopt the audited consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2022, together with the report of the auditors thereon. The resolution for item number 2, as provided in the notice, is proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. Item number 3 of the notice: to declare a final dividend of rupees 7 only, being 350% per equity share of face value of rupees 2 each for the year ended 31st March 2022. The resolution for item number 3 as provided in the notice is also proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. Item number 4 of the notice, to appoint a director in place of Mr. Ajay C. Mehta, having director identification number 000284405, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting in terms of Section 152, subsection 6 of the Companies Act 2013, and being eligible has offered himself for reappointment. The resolution for item number 4 as provided in the notice is proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. Item number 5 of the notice, to appoint a director in place of Mr. Sanjay Upadhyay, having director identification number 01776546, who retires by rotation at this annual general meeting in terms of Section 152, subsection 6 of the Companies Act 2013, and being eligible has offered himself for reappointment. The resolution for item number 5 as provided in the notice is also proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. Item number 6 of the notice, to consider and approve reappointment of Deloitte Huskins and Sells LLP Chartered Accountants having firm registration number 117366W/W-100018 for another term of 5 years from the conclusion of 51st annual general meeting of the company till the conclusion of 56th annual general meeting of the company on such remuneration as mentioned in the explanatory statement annexed to the notice convening this annual general meeting. The resolution number 6 as provided in the notice is proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. The items under special business are item number 7 of the notice, ratification of remuneration of rupees 8 lakhs to the cost auditor for the financial year 2022-23 plus applicable taxes, traveling and other out-of-pocket expenses. The resolution for item number 7 as provided in the notice is also proposed to be passed as an ordinary resolution. The facility to vote shall be kept open up to 15 minutes after the conclusion of this annual general meeting. Therefore, members who have not casted their votes yet are requested to do so. Now, I request the chairman to give his concluding remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bajpai. I thank all the shareholders for joining us for this meeting through video conferences. I wish safe and healthy times ahead for all of us. Thank you all once again for attending the meeting, and I hereby declare the 51st AGM of the company as concluded. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye.